Hi everyone, this is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is your weekly forecast for July 28th through August 3rd, 2019. How's everyone doing? We are blessed with Mercury going forward this week. However, that means we're still in it as we're talking today. I have semi-recovered. When I made the last recording and told you I had already dealt with some changes, that was nothing compared to the week that followed. So again, we are calling in the techno angels to open a pathway between me and my people so that we can communicate, and so that I can also validate and confirm what you're feeling and sensing and picking up. That's the point of these forecasts, is to let you know the energy that's available so you know what is supported. Humans tend to want to do things in their own timing when energy may or may not be there for that. So this is part of the blessing of getting in tune with your own nature and rhythm, your own personal rhythm, as well as nature's actual rhythm. When those sync up, you become much more productive and way less stressful because you're going with natural time. And many of you already know, if you're listening to this, I trust that you understand the 3D to 5D jumps that we have made. Some people spend more time in 3D and less time in 5D, and others spend more time in 5D and less in 3D. That too has to do with your individual system. So these updates and reports that I bring to you are just supportive energy to help you maximize the energy you have to contribute. So this week does bring up a lot of fiery energy for a number of reasons from many different angles. And it's also a new moon this week, a super new moon at that. So before I even get started, let's just say when we're working with the dark of moon, that time where it goes completely dark in the sky, that can be truly unsettling for some people. By the same token, we move forward on faith through that dark void, knowing that all seeds germinate in the darkness, and that within 3 days there will be a sliver of light, that promise, that seeds promise, that always comes. Light follows dark, follows light, follows dark. It's a pattern, it's a rhythm. The better we get at honoring that, like I said, the more effective we become and the happier we become just by default, because we're not fighting the currents and we're not exhausted. One of the number one pieces of advice that I'm giving these days is to manage your energy, not your time, and be very vigilant about your boundaries. Your personal boundaries should be like hemp or bamboo, super strong, super flexible, but breathable. Okay? And self-preservation is not selfish. So if you are the type that feels the energy of everything going on around you, you could very well go into overwhelm. That's not effective, and that's probably not your soul's goal. And for those who avoid feeling anything, the trouble with that is that when the floodgates open, then you're overwhelmed in a whole different kind of way. So let's tread lightly this week and know that the umbrella that is over all of it is one of ease and grace and permission to pull back before you go forward, taking time to assess or address or initiate your self-care routine in a whole new way. That is the number one supportive thing you can do for the world, is to take care of yourself, make yourself whole and balanced. And when that happens, the ripple out effects are A, effortless for you because you're just leading by example, but also timeless, infinite, ongoing. So let's be okay with the changes that are up and the radical shifts that are happening within and around us. Let's be okay with the interruptions in light, the momentary darkness that allows us to go within and renew that part of us that knows, and encourage that higher self to soothe your little human self throughout the week, because this energy is also tremendously potent with magic and with possibility and with imagination being awakened and creative solutions being accessible. And it is this completion of the Mercury retrograde where we're processing, what is the quality nutrient that I need for every level of my existence, meaning quality nutrient for your body, quality nutrient for your mind, quality nutrient for your spirit, and most important, the quality nutrient for your soul. We are very much in an awakening of the soul, allowing your soul self to lead you through life. So we have a lot of good energy and support for that throughout the month of August. And Leo time gets us in touch with ourselves and that unique light that we each have to share. And so this week of assessments and adjustments and changes and breaks to realign, know that it's preparation for the blossoming of that emergent self of yours that has been brewing and bubbling and getting flavorful and spicy and delicious in its own unique way. And that just honoring your own individual gifts is a service to the rest of the world. We can't be good at everything, but we can be really good at a few things. And so focus on those and feed them and nourish them like a plant. So, not sure what prompted the extended introduction, but I suspect it is my desire to connect with you all. I have gotten some emails from some of you receiving the updates and really resonating with what I share. So, without further ado, July 29th, which is Monday, brings our first activation. Sun squaring off with Uranus, so this is individual to collective, but remember that Uranus is the awakening planet and is always working to liberate you from some level that you have outgrown or container that you have outgrown. And with the Sun contact, it happens every year. So it's good to pay attention to this one and co-create as consciously as possible. As with any Uranus activation, this one disrupts the normal flow to facilitate a break to realign moment. While sometimes disruptive and challenging, the ultimate result is usually refreshing in some way. Consider the energy that thickens, gathering for a severe thunderstorm, then releasing buckets of rain for hours. You sleep deeply and awaken to a bright sunny morning with birds chirping unusually loud outside your window. Got the visual? This activation is the necessary challenge that gets your attention that something better is available if you're willing to improvise and think on your feet. If you've been unusually restricted in some way, you may feel restless. Rather than being reactive to the unexpected shift within or without, it's best to take a pause for the cause, step back, and try to gain some perspective so you can consciously respond instead of react. Remember to be present. Too far in the past can be depressing, and too far in the future, and you cause yourself unnecessary anxiety. Breathe, be under the sky, invite clarity about the next step, and trust your gut. Your natural, God-given instincts are what is needed for this one. This energy, while sometimes uncomfortable and often sudden, is very necessary to disrupt any illusions or delusions you may be holding on to. It's time to express yourself in all new ways. So see what I mean? This is the individual awakening, the realization that we are responsible for our individual peace. We know in our human little hearts that we can't save the entire world. We can, however, do our part. So this is the awakening to what's next for you in that regard. And it will be customized for everybody. Some people have health issues on the table. Some people have job issues on the table. Some people have relationship issues on the table. But you better believe the human issues are the human issues. It doesn't matter where you come from. As a human being, we share all these basics, the fundamentals, which are up for renewal. And we've been talking about that. So this is Leo to Taurus square. So this is about staying authentic, but breaking free of the old way of comfort seeking or doing your food, sex, or money, the things that you value the most, the things that are most important to you, those Taurus issues that make us human. So we're awakening to a new way to do that that is more sustainable for our bodies as well as Mama's body. So it's a good one to co-create with. And that's on Monday the 29th. And then Wednesday is our big day of the week when we have the super new moon in Leo. On the same day, Mercury goes direct, July 31st. So hump day is going to be good. Around this time last year, we were wrapping up the Leo-Aquarius eclipses. So I'm curious how you're doing 1 year later. Often when we are quote-unquote in it, we can't really know what exactly is changing. However, once we get a little distance and the dust starts to settle, we discover what radical shifts really took place. Leo-Aquarius eclipses activated reverberations from the years 2008 and 9, as well as 1998 to 2000. Last year, we were also navigating the full moon first, giving us a chance to clear before seed planting. However, this year brings today's Leo super new moon first, so we have to plant seeds and walk by faith, trusting that they will be activated in divine time and order. This new moon will help initiate the new in a clean, positive, and hopefully fun way. It may be time to lighten up, get creative, and have some fun. Make time and space to dig into anything that is weighing heavily on you and find a new way to express it. That makes me think of the quote I used for last week on the blog. I think it was last week. Yeah, take a situation that you've been struggling with and change its priority in your life. So very valuable. I've flipped a few things from the top to the bottom and the bottom to the top, and it makes a difference. I highly recommend you just play with the what-if scenarios. What if you just change that priority? So get creative. Have some fun. Make it playful instead of life or death. That will help you open up the creative solutions that are just for you anyway. This is the annual new moon of the new you, and thanks to last couple of years of eclipses, you may have only realized a new you was activated. If your focus is on self-care, self-love, and self-worth, and how you define that for yourself, it may also allow you some customized opportunities for you to change your thinking in some way. The world is shifting at such a rapid pace that I feel it is more imperative than ever to know your own heart. Many of us have lived our lives guided by survival rather than what is truly in our hearts. And we have discovered, either directly or from observing others, how this can backfire on you. Consider that anything you do, whether for yourself or the world, needs to be heart-centered and rooted in love, which is Leo's domain. And that love is that which endures and ultimately succeeds. When we do things with genuine enthusiasm, humble and pure, we can literally inspire, awaken, and uplift others. And that creates a certain magnetism that creates an energetic flow. The purest form of leadership is to lead by example. So deepen your connection to your own heart, share your light without attachment, but simply for the joy of sharing, and that will encourage others to shine their own light. It's contagious. So happy new you. May you rise into your courageous emergent self. That's what the Leo new moon is really good for. It's a super new moon, so as a person who follows the sunsets as much as the moon rises, when we have a super full moon, many of us are attuned to paying attention and seeing it bigger and closer and sometimes different colors. When it's a super new moon and you have a western view, the sunset can look bigger and closer, just like the super full moon looks bigger and closer. So I've had a lot of magical moments filming sunsets for my Karmic Tools YouTube channel. These sunsets that I do often fall on the lunar phases and different special times of the year. So the Leo new moon is a great opportunity for all of us to access the heart fire and activate that inspiration within, that activates the vitality within you, and gets your blood, your energy moving again, life force energy. It has to move. Any stagnation is not really good for us on this planet. The planet is constantly moving, and humans are constantly energetically and physically, emotionally, spiritually. We're always in motion. So the idea is to get a rhythm to that motion and to noticing where the ebbs and flows are so that you can co-create better. So take advantage of this new moon to plant those seeds and invite your inner child forward to give you some ideas and show you another way. Because I've said this a lot lately too. Humans are meant to do 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, 8 hours of play. And if you notice how many creatures in nature play, you know that it is something natural for us that does stimulate imagination that allows us to be problem solvers and to live more effectively. So it's just practice. There is no perfection. So the same day as the new moon, where we get to seed something new, Mercury blessedly goes forward in Cancer. So there has been a renewal of our alignment, let's say, between the head and heart, or the thinking and the feeling processes. And Cancer rules our digestive system, so processing, integrating, and releasing the waste, taking all the nutrient, releasing the waste mentally of the last year, let's keep it simple, is a totally valuable thing to do. And as its little dip into Leo would suggest, we're changing how we perceive ourselves and how we present ourselves. We're changing how we think and how we communicate. And Mercury gives us a chance 3 times a year to kind of review that and pay attention so that we're not Pollyannas or broken records or just babbling with no meaning or value. Communication is a rich part of our heritage that we need to get better at as human beings in the new rhythms of life, as they do intensify at certain times in Earth's pattern and path and in our own patterns and paths. So like I said, getting to know that ebb and flow will let you know where the breaks are in the intensity. I get so many people ask me, when's it going to stop? It's not so much about stopping, but where's the break in the energy that lets you rest and reflect? And this July, August has actually been good for that, where you can get it. So again, if you don't take it, you might not get it. If you don't make time for it, it might not happen. But if you consciously feel like you need to digest what's been going on or in and around you, the energies support you for that, for the month of August for sure. Because when we get to harvest and toward the end of the year, energies are going to start to pick up. And at the same time, a lot of the work that you've been doing to create containers for your ideas and to put form and structure to the magic going on within you, that's all solidifying by the end of the year as well. And it's kind of like baby's first steps, pulling yourself up at the coffee table and, ooh, this is a new view. How long can we hold this position? So just deep breath, honoring that Mercury has this process and we still have a bit of a shadow period through August. But I think it is actually going to work in our favor, slowing things down so we can do some personal tending. This retrograde in particular is shining yet another light on the value of self-care and self-love as it relates to communication and self-expression. If we are not clear about our personal needs and desires, it makes it really difficult to attract the good things in life. I encourage you to use the rest of August to dig into how you really feel and what you really think about some issues that are close to your heart in some way. We can use this slow reversal to reconnect internally so we navigate externally with more ease and grace. We have this breather right as we plant these new moon seeds that will support us when we get to the harvest. Okay? So deep breath and co-creating is always useful for humans. It makes our human feel engaged and part of the process, which it should be, and it is. And the better you can, the more conscious you can be about that, the more fun it gets, I promise. And then August 2nd, which is next Friday, this is Venus squaring off with Uranus. So we had the Sun, which is a personal, essential part of you, and Venus, your values and priorities. These are where the radical shifts are happening this week, the aha moments that You're a new person, and so you have new values and priorities. Things that used to be important to the old you are not important to the new you. And it's all good. It's okay. It's totally okay. You need to get to know the new you just as much as everyone else does. So be prepared to kind of reintroduce yourself, let's say, like I said, by the last quarter of the year or the first quarter of the new year. After those other eclipses roll through, I think, again, a lot of things will stabilize for 2020 and then be with us for a good 20-plus years. So next Friday, when Venus squares off with Uranus, it's a test to grow that we can't always plan for, thanks to Uranus. Venus rules your values and priorities, and an activation with Uranus signifies something sudden and seemingly out of the blue. Of course, this isn't true, but it can feel that way. The truth is, it is time to do something different, where your love, finances, or relationships are concerned specifically. Making a conscious effort to do things in a completely new way will be rewarded with a lesson and a blessing you would have never considered. Due to these new revelations happening within you, the immediate response will come from those closest to you. If you're in relationships, personal or professional, that have reached a point where they have to change or end, this is a good time to try to discuss it openly and with as much detachment and objectivity as possible. This energy can provoke the need for excitement or stimulation in your relationships, giving you the urge to shake things up. But be aware and mindful of others' feelings too, because they may not be in the mood for such sudden change. Another expression of this energy is to get things on the table. It's a good time to really discuss things and come to an agreement or a compromise. Ultimately, this is a test of your flexibility in relationships. The more inflexible and attached to status quo that you are, then the more disruptive this energy can be. The more willing you are to change within and do things differently without, the more productive and probably joyful you will be. So, that wraps up our week. Very personal. New moons, very personal. Mercury retrograde brings it back to you. How are you thinking? How are you perceiving? What's going on with your filters and your lens? It needs a clearing 3 to 4 times a year. And again, if we don't make or take time for that, things back up and years go by. I understand we all have periods in our lives where other things take over and self-care gets kicked to the back burner. But here I am to also share, before I let you go, I have 4 events in August. I don't even know how this happened. Well, I do know how this happened. I am a pretty fiery creature with lots of Aries and Sag, but no Leo. So when Leo gets kicking, and we have a lot at this moment, it balances me out in a certain way, but it also makes things more active. Let's just put it that way. So I am rising to the challenge of this many events in a month. 2 are free, 2 are paid, and I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you in person. So let me just give you the heads up now, because there will, of course, be, as each week unfolds, I'll remind you what events are happening when. But we have the free Leo Gate call, August 8th at 9 p.m. And this will also be the introduction to self-care and self-love with Dolphin. That will introduce you to what I would like you to join me later in the month for the 3-day reset of your self-care and self-love with Dolphin to activate your inner joy and natural vitality within. I told many of you I was going to change that 7-day reset to a 3-day reset. It is intense, but 3 days we can use that and try it this way and see if it doesn't work a little better for some. So that's 3 days, 1 hour a day to check in. Normally it's $50. There's an early bird special for $41. So the free call introduces that, and we're going to celebrate the gate together, which I love, celebrating the turn of the wheel with my community. So I invite everyone is welcome. Of course, love offerings are welcome too, but this is a free event, and that's August 8th. Then we have the next free event is going to be the Venus Circle Open House, because we're at the cycle midpoint and entering the Leo reclamation side of the journey. So I want to talk to you about that. And that's a free introduction August 13th, which is a Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern. So many of you know we do 9 months of release. There's a pause in between right now, which is August. And then there's 9 months of reclamation before Venus retrogrades again. So when we get to the reclamation side, I often bring on new cohorts and teachers and healing modalities or learning tools, all the different support things that now that you've done all this clearing and release and shifting of the priorities, and in this case for Venus, tapping into your own personal power, innate creativity, and sacred feminine mojo, which is what this cycle is all about. We're about to rise into that Leo energy that illuminates our unique gifts and what we came to contribute and make the world a better place as individuals. So this is the point in the cycle as well where a lot of people drop off and a lot of people join, and so it's just really amazing to watch the rhythm. And those of you that have stuck with me for the whole 18 months, that's always amazing too, because you look at the end result and you literally find your own body of work. You recognize where you truly let go of certain things and are better for it, and you give yourself credit for those things. And that's what the monthly check-ins are all about, is just checking in with yourself to make sure you're on track and feeling good and right about the direction you're moving in and the life you're living. So lots of support for you, the individual, this month in particular, which is always my thing. I feel like if the individuals get it together, the globe will be okay. So that's where the focus of my work always falls, whether it's the shamanic astrology or the mystic mentor. Either way, it's all about supporting the individual so that you can do better in the world. So those two free events are introducing a class and another circle. That's August 8th and August 13th. And then the reset is August 15, 16, 17. That's the 3-day reset of your self-care and self-love with Dolphin. And then we have the first inner initiation in Virgo for the Soul Star Chakra Reclamation. This is the first of our 9 months on the reclamation side, which happens August 22nd at 9 p.m. So that's your little sneak peek, heads up, coming soon, lots to do. August 8th, August 13th, the reset is 15, 16, 17, and then another call on the 22nd. So put those on your calendar. I'd love for you to join us. Check in with the energies, and this is going to be support for everyone. When I do the open house for the Venus, this is the meeting of Venus and Sun, which she only does twice in the whole cycle. So it's good for everyone to sort of check in and review that article. That's linked all over my blog and on the Venus Circle page, and it's everywhere, and it'll be shared here too. That Venus article, this is the best time to check in with that, because even if you just flip to the last page of the light and shadow list, that'll give you the bullets of what this cycle is really all about. And actually there's a list for Libra and there's a list for Scorpio. And at the midpoint, remember, it's your best course correcting time. So if you check in with that article and realize that maybe you got a little off track and distracted, this is your chance to get back on track. And it's even more fun when we do it together. So I hope you will join us on the 2 free calls and the first teleconference for the second half of this cycle going forward. So I hope you have a great week. Reach out if you need to. Take your time. Be easy with yourself and others. This is a big opportunity for you to check in with yourself with all the Leo energy. And we've got a lot. Let me just say, Juno is what we're deeply wedded and committed to, which brings it back to you and your heart-centered love, the things you love. Just let's rededicate to that. Mars in Leo, the action, the passion, the desire is for the individual to shine so that the globe is okay, so the rest of the world is good, and all our gifts are brought together for the greater good of all. And the Venus-Sun getting together, August 14th, that's coming up. But they're warming up in Leo right next to each other. And get together, Venus-Moon, on the same day, July 31st, which is this week. So it's part of our Venus activations. While Mercury's still backwards and communicating with that North Node piece. So those are really supportive of you getting in touch with you and figuring out what your personal individual needs are, and it all being okay to focus on that for a little bit. You know, some people might make you feel guilt, shame, and blame when you're shifting your attention from outer directedness to inner directedness, which is going to be vital when we hit Virgo, because we're going to have a huge Virgo stellium, which is when Mercury finally comes all the way out of the shadow, and we can apply and start working with that new routine or rhythm that's trying to emerge to support the new you that's trying to emerge, So each month kind of builds and prepares you for the next month. And I would not normally schedule this many things in one month, but they did come together rather organically, and they all complement each other. So even if you can't do them all yourself, you can check in with the ones that really resonate and catch the replays when you can. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great week.
This is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and I am so grateful for your time, energy, and support. Please share this with those you think would resonate and reach out if and when you need to. Kelly at KarmicTools.com. The goal of my weekly forecast is to alert you to the energies and activations that we're all experiencing and the possibilities for conscious co-creation as an individual. Awareness of the energies is the first key, but I invite you to take it to the next level by checking out my readings, telecircles, and subscriptions, which are all geared toward individual support that helps you understand your own unique blueprint. My specialty is cycles and patterns, and I love helping people figure out their own within the context of the social and collective rhythm. To some, working with their own cycles and patterns is a completely new and foreign concept, but there are many planetary cycles that coincide with natural life cycles that allow us to co-create in mystical as well as practical ways. I create custom tools that I have tried and tested myself for over 30 years, and I do the work alongside my circle every time. So I hope you will reach out if you feel called to dive deeper into your own soul's natural rhythm. Talk to you soon. One love.